Hello everyone, this video lesson will cover notes 1.5, which is about intercepts, x and y intercepts. Okay, so as a review, to find the x-intercept, we set the y equal to 0, and once we find it, we write down the two coordinates. So x will be any number we find when we solve the equation, and y will always be 0. And to find a y-intercept, we set the x equal to 0, which means x is 0, and then we'll find the y value by solving the equation. Okay. So I am going to, first off, I'm going to solve. In this case, I'm going to use what I'm saying here. I'm going to find the x and the y intercepts. So let's start by finding the x and the y intercepts. So let's see, this will be x intercept. Okay. So the work is what I'm going to show next. So we know that when we try to find the x intercept, the value of y has to be 0. So then that means I have 3x plus 5, and instead of y, 0, and that equals 15. Well, 3x, we know that 5 times 0 is 0, so then we just have 3x equals 15. And then when we solve for x, we divide by 3. So in this case, we have the x by itself, and x is equal to 15 divided by 3, that's 5. So then the x-intercept has coordinates of x is 5 and y is 0, which is what I meant by a number and 0. So then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to find the y-intercept. Okay, so the y-intercept, I'm going to show the work here. This one is usually easier to find. So we know the x is going to be 0. So this will be 3 times, instead of x, parentheses, 0 plus 5. Y equals 15. So then this becomes 0. So all we have left is 5y equals 15. Then we divide by 5 in this case. So then we have that y equals 15 divided by 3, which is 5. So then I have that the coordinates of the y-intercept are 0 for x, comma 5 for y. So that's what I mean by 0 and a number. Okay. So now with these two, we can find, I made a mistake here, didn't I? 15 divided by 5 is not 5, it's 3. I'm sorry about this. I hope you forgive me for that mistake. So then this should be 3. So I'm glad I caught it before I plotted the point. Okay, so then this point, which is the y-intercept, so the x-intercept, so that means x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the other point is the y-intercept, and that is where x is 0 and y is 3. So this is 1, 2, 3. And then once we have the 2 points, this is where I'm going to give you these instructions. Okay, so the quality, I need to see a quality graph, because if the graph is not done well, then I can't really understand what you're doing. So make sure you do the points are plotted clearly, as you can see, as I did here, and then use a straight edge to connect the points. Okay, so I'm going to use this. You guys can use your ID. I'm going to use this paper here to connect the points so I can sketch the line. So this is the line that has the x and y intercept we found. Okay, and that is all for this example. All right, so let's move on to the next example. Okay, for the next example, same thing. I'm going to find the x-intercept, and then we'll find the y-intercept. So x-intercept, we set the y equal to 0, so that means 2x minus 0 equals negative 4. So then that means just that 2x equals negative 4, and then we divide by 2. So then we find that x equals negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So then the x-intercept has coordinates of negative 2, comma 0. Okay, then let's move on to find the y-intercept. So for the y-intercept, we're going to set the x equal to 0. So that means 2 times 0 minus y is equal to negative 4. Which means 2 times 0 is 0, so we just have negative y is equal to negative 4. But then again, we're not interested in negative y. Let's divide by negative 1 so we can make that y positive. So then this makes the y positive, and that changes or switches that negative 4 to positive 4 because you're dividing the negative by a negative. So then the y-intercept has coordinates of 0, comma 4. Okay, so then I'm going to plot the x-intercept first. So it's -1, -2. This is the x-intercept. So that's where you can expect the graph cross the x-axis. And then 0, 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, I am going to use a straight edge. So I'm going to use this paper. Again, you can use your ID. As long as you show me a straight line, I'll be happy. Okay, so then I'm going to connect the points. And this is what the graph looks like for this problem. Okay, so there is the second example on how to graph using the x and y intercepts only. For the last part of the lesson, okay, so now this is the previous lesson covered how to read slope. So this lesson covers how to read or to describe what the x and y intercept means on a graph given a real world situation. Okay, so for example, this example here, we have the price of the car, which is the y-axis, and we have the age of the car, which is the x-axis. And before we write in words, we have to understand if this continues decreasing, as you can see, that as the x values increase, the y values decrease. Okay, so as the car gets older, the price of the car decreases. So the question is, what does the x-axis represent? What does the x-intercept represent about this, about the car, about this information? Okay, so then what it means is it shows that the age of the car when the price is 0. So once this graph hits the x-axis, that means the value of y is 0, which is what y represents. So y represents the price. So when the car is very old, the price is going to be 0. Okay, and the y-intercept means, so imagine we could extend this line. It just keeps going, right? It just keeps going here, up here, and then it hits the y-axis at some point there. So then this just means when you first bought the car. Okay, so this shows the price of the car when the age is 0, which means the car is brand new. So that's the highest price. What about the next and last example? So for the next and last example, we saw this in the previous lesson, cricket chirps and temperature. So if I were to extend this line, eventually it'll hit this point, right? So what does the x-intercept represent? Well, we know it's temperature. So what do you think that represents? Okay, I'm just giving you a moment to think here, but then the x-intercept represents the following. This shows the temperature when there are no cricket chirps. So the temperature has to be 0, right? Is that correct? Think about it. If not, I'll explain this in class if you have further questions. So what about the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept represents or shows the number of cricket chirps when the temperature is 0. So when there is the temperature is 0, the crickets are not chirping. It's too cold for them, right? Okay, so anyways, that's all for this lesson. I'll see you in class, and make sure you ask me questions if you have any questions about this. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.